I wanted to circle back to the insurance stuff. So, as you know, I've been around since basically the invention of dirt. And I just want to note that in the 1990s, e-commerce was impossible before we got domain names, and domain names are only possible because we've got insurance. So the domain names that you can use for e-commerce, HTTPS certificates, SSL certificates, domain name registrars, all the rest of that kind of stuff, where somebody would actually give you a certificate that proves your identity. All of those SSL certificates to this day are paired with an insurance product, where if there's something screwed up in the certificate and you wind up losing money as a result, it's all backed by insurance. So this partnership of cryptography and insurance has been fundamental to binding cryptographic instruments to the real world from the beginning, because the real world is inherently a little bit squishy and cryptography is inherently very, very mathematically hard. So the idea that you've got an existing bridging system between the real world in the form of Amazon, the corporation, is Amazon.com, and the digital world, that bridge already carries, I don't know, what, $4 trillion of transactions a year on e-commerce, something like that. So the idea that the next step is you get, kind of Web3 cryptography, you get blockchain cryptography, then you need a new generation of insurance products. And when you join those new generation insurance products to the new generation cryptography, you get another leap like e-commerce, but it's like 5 times the size. I believed in that thesis enough in 2016 to leave what I was doing at Consensus at the time. I'd already left Ethereum Foundation, start a company, Implement. So, what this Ethereum thing is Web 2 digital certificates provide identity to companies. Web 3, you could call them digital certificates, but the thing is you're providing identity to tangible assets. Real estate, cars, gold bullion, all the kinds of stuff that we do for our clients. All of those kinds of mechanisms, it's all about binding insurance onto the bridge between physical assets and digital tokens representing asset value. So the place that we specialize in is what happens when there's a dispute. You say, hey, this thing is fake, I want to claim on the insurance. The person who's holding the other end of the insurance contract says no. You wind up with a dispute. What we built was a dispute forum where if any of those things goes wrong, all the legal documents are incorrect, all of the evidence is correctly marshaled, the arbitration tribunal has scope in 170 countries, they've got a set of blockchain-specific rules for carrying out that arbitration that were drafted by the most senior judge in England and Wales for a commercial dispute, and that whole machinery is sitting here waiting so that you can plug it into all of these different protocols, so you've unified a dispute resolution and a unified technical standard for actually the representation of these risk objects. And that's all built. It's ready to go. We've been using it for years for test transactions, pilots, to show people how it works. But this is intended to be the backstop for the entire industry, because without that backstop, when you hit a dispute, where does it go? Which court? What powers do they have? Do they even understand the blockchain at all? Somebody has to catch the liability, and we built that shock absorber early, knowing that it was going to be the hard job and knowing that it was critical for the ecosystem as a whole. If we have an industry where everybody brings their own legal paperwork and their own dispute resolution, it becomes very expensive to put assets provided by different people in the same portfolio. So if you've got 42 different companies doing real estate, real world assets out of, let's say, New York, if you try and put all those assets into the same portfolio, they all come with their own risk management, they all come with their own different insurance policies. The legal complexity of having to deal with every single one of those things independently is nightmarish. You need template standardization on the legal contracts, which is what the real world does with things like ISDAs, right? Roughly a quadrillion dollars of derivatives, all on the same legal templates. And yeah, I did say a quadrillion dollars. It really is that big. Trillions does not even begin to describe the derivatives pool. So those kinds of mechanisms and those kinds of notions, these are the machineries necessary to get enough standardization in these systems that it all actually holds together. Right? The sums of money are dazzling when you get to look at things like ISDAs, but the same templates apply to things like real estate.